Hey there and welcome. My question for you today is, do you ever feel like you are working yourself into exhaustion, chasing after lower level sales or lower level clients? Do you feel like, after the end of your coaching sessions, you're more drained than energized and enthused, right? Often that's happening is because of what? You're not playing a bigger game and you're not selling at the higher level consistently. So what I want to talk to you about today is why that happens, okay? Because I work with people who are typically already at 6 figures and above, and they hire me because they want to be able to make more money, but they want to be able to do that without burning out, without feeling exhausted, without feeling like they've lost the passion for what they do. So part of my process is helping them sell at the higher level more consistently. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Specifically, I'm going to address the 3 reasons why your 5 or your 6 figure packages are not selling over and over again, right? So if you've never been to one of my trainings before, welcome. My name is Desiree Stafford, and I help coaches and service-based entrepreneurs basically make more money with a lot less effort, right? The kind of money that they know that they're capable of. So what I'm going to share with you today is very powerful information, right? So if you know anyone that could potentially benefit from what I'm going to share, I would invite you to share this video and invite them to join us live so that they can also get their questions answered in real time. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to share with you the 3 reasons why your programs are not selling consistently. I'll answer any of your questions towards the end, and then we'll wrap up in about 20 minutes or so. Cool? All right. So thanks for being here. Hey, Tina, how are you? Hey, Jordan, how are you? All right. So the first reason why your high-end programs are not selling as consistently as you would like is because you're worried about your delivery, okay? Now, I know that you have clients who get amazing results, but if you have some clients who didn't get results, or if your clients are getting inconsistent results, right, that can create this fear. It can create doubt that you can actually deliver at a higher level, right? I know this from personal experience. I know this from also clients who've shared that with me as well. So how do you overcome that? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that you have a unique process that helps people get results, right? And when you truly understand your process, how it works and why it works, and you match that with the right client, that is almost guaranteed results, right? Because not only do you have to have the right process, but you have to make sure it is matched with the right client, right? And that's how you get predictable results. But if you're, kind of wobbly on your process, or you're signing clients who are not the right clients for you, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be a mismatch, right? And so the results are going to be wonky. You'll get them sometimes and not other times. So it's important that you understand why your process works, how it works, right? Because you also have to remember that, listen, people have tried other programs before and they failed before, right? So you need to understand why yours is different so that you can stand behind your programs with conviction. So you don't have that doubt creeping in your marketing. You don't have the doubt creeping in your sales conversations. You don't have the doubt creeping in when you actually do close the sale and start serving the client, right? Because if you have doubt, what do you think is going to happen? Client's not going to do the work. They're not going to get the results. Make sense? All right. So the second thing, and pardon me as I look away at my notes, the second reason why your programs are not selling as consistently is because you don't know where to find qualified leads, right? So this is interesting. So many people think that in order to attract the kind of clients who are going to be willing to pay at a higher level, you have to work harder, right? And if you already feel like you're burning out, if you already feel like you're working your tail into exhaustion, right, you don't really want to then think, oh my gosh, how many more strategies do I need to implement to find these people? Well, the truth is these people are everywhere, right? The question is, how do you market more effectively so that you can call those people in, right? That's really what it comes down to. So you don't have to do more marketing. I would actually encourage you to do less marketing. I would encourage you to have your marketing be much more powerful than it is right now to call in your ideal people. Because what a lot of people have done, and if you've been on any of my trainings before, I talk about this a lot, is that you follow the guru model, which tells you that you've got to produce all of this content all of the time. And what does that do? It burns you out and it doesn't get you the results that you want. And when you're coming from a place of feeling burnt out, from feeling stressed, from feeling frustrated, what type of clients do you think you're going to attract? And what kind of clients do you think you're going to repel, right? So if you want to attract more quality leads, energetically, you need to shift, right? You need to be coming from a place that is more attractive to the people that you can serve at the higher level. And you can't do that if you're burnt out or you're pulling your hair out by trying to create content all of the time. So I would highly encourage you to learn how to make your marketing much more powerful, much more direct, have it trigger the desire in folks, to want to reach out to you. And if you want some more support around how you can do that, I'd be happy to share with you at the end how you can get that, right? Because this is really important. Because when you do this, when you understand how to make your marketing speak to the right people and have your folks basically self-select themselves to want to work with you, have them decide before they even get on the phone with you that they do want to hire you regardless of the price, then by the time they get on the phone, it's easier to walk them through the whole sales process. Not only get the yes, but get someone who's committed, right? Get someone who's actually going to show up in the program and do the work and get the results, right? So everything that we're sharing here today, from the offer that you create, from the marketing, and from the sales process, which I'll talk to you about next, all of that works to make sure that your clients are getting the results that they're paying you to get, so that you have the confidence that you can continue to sell at your higher level. And when I'm talking about selling at a higher level, I'm really talking about selling, anywhere between 100,000, or I should say 10,000 to 100,000, right? And the reason I say that, because, there's different levels of high end, right? A lot of people that I know who are making 6 figures or 7 figures, they're selling more of the $3,000 to $10,000 level programs. They do sell some of the higher end stuff, but not very consistently, right? So what I'm talking to you about today is selling more of the $10,000 to $100,000 level programs more consistently, okay? So it's important that you understand the distinction between high end that I'm referring to, right? The third reason why your programs are not selling as consistently as you would like is because you don't believe that either people have the money to pay, right, or that they will pay, right? So if you have a block around people being able to invest $50,000 to work with you, or $100,000 to work with you, or even $30,000 to work with you, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to attract people who can pay it, right? And if the block, or part of the block, is coming from, having the experience of people telling you that they can't afford it. So let's say, you're selling anywhere from a $3,000 to a $10,000 program right now, and you get a lot of people who tell you that they can't afford it, right? If you then interpret that to mean that then obviously no one can pay you more than that, you would be mistaken, right? Number one, you want to think about the kind of people that you're attracting right now, and why are you attracting those people right now? Number two, you want to understand what that objection really is about, right? I can't afford it. It's not about the money. I can't afford it is simply an objection. It's simply a fear-based pattern that your prospects tend to use to stop themselves from getting what they want, right? So I said it's a fear-based pattern that they use. Oftentimes it may even be unconscious. They may really believe that they don't have the cash, right? Even though they may have it like somewhere else, they might really believe in the moment that they don't have the cash, because it's their way of saying, I don't believe I can do this, right? And again, if they have tried and failed before, you have to understand why people come from that place, right? Why that fear is so strong. And so you need to make sure that your beliefs are stronger than their fears. So how do you make sure your belief is stronger than your fears? It goes back to what I said in the first point. You need to make sure you understand your process forward and backward. You need to make sure that you understand how it works and why it works, so that you have certainty when you're on the sales conversation. So that when people's fears come up, you don't get stuck in your own shit, right? But you can actually help them move through their fears, right? But if you're like not 100% sold on the fact that your process matched with the right client is basically guaranteed results, then what's going to happen? When their fear comes up, you will get stopped. You will feel stuck at that objection. You will not know how to help them overcome that objection, right? Because you're going to buy into it. And the only reason you're buying into it is because you are not feeling as confident as you need to be. You are not feeling as convicted as you need to be in that area of the phone call. Make sense? Okay. So, who has any questions about what I've shared so far? While you guys are formulating questions, I will welcome some of you. Hey, Monique. Hey, Christine. Hey, Nina. Hey, is it Antonia? I think I always ask how to pronounce your name. Welcome back, by the way. All right, so who has any questions about what I shared so far? I think I moved through things pretty quickly. So if you have any questions, please feel I've been struggling since yesterday with my words. I just re-recorded one of the trainings for my mastermind, and I did the same thing yesterday. As I was doing the training, I was stumbling over my words. I'm like, why is this happening? So I don't know what's going on this week. Probably just a lot of excitement. So who has any questions for me? There's got to be questions, because I know a lot of people struggle with selling their higher end programs, right? Another thing that I will share with you is that, essentially what I'm saying here, you can't, don't just focus on creating the offer. Okay, last week I gave away an old training of mine that I've since replaced in my mastermind curriculum, right? And it's a training on how to create high-end offers. And the mistake I think a lot of people make is to think that, well, if I just know what to put in it, that's going to solve the problem, right? If I just know what needs to go in the package, then I'll be able to sell it. And that's bullshit, right? Of course you need to know what goes in the package. But if you have fears, if you have doubts, if you have blocks, right, you cannot sell, right? Not even your marketing is going to be effective. So it's important that you understand whatever it is that you need to understand to get the results. So that I encourage you to start asking me some questions. People pay me a lot of money to get my support. So if you're here now and you have any questions about higher end programs, I'll answer as much as I can for you, right? Because some of the stuff that you may ask may be stuff that I need to know more about you to really be able to honestly answer. But if there are any other general questions, I will do my best to answer them for you, all right? Hey, Missy, how are you? Missy Ray, how are you? Okay. So Jordan asks, what are some of the ways you work through the fear? So there's a lot of ways that I work through the fear. Number one, I always do. I mean, I do some private work, but mostly I work with people in intimate groups. And I always make time to have a private session with a client, right? Because everyone's fears, although they may be similar, they might have similar themes, the attachment to the fear is different. So what I like to do is understand, why does a particular client have an attachment to this particular fear? And when I understand that, then I can prescribe to them a customized mindset strategy to get past that fear, right? So that's one of the ways. I also have trainings on, a belief change system that will help you eradicate the fears that are keeping you stuck, right? So those are some of the things that I do with my people to help them move past fear, because the reality is no matter how good you are, no matter, how gifted and skilled and talented you are at creating transformation in other people, if you have your own blocks, if you have your own fears, that will always get in the way, right? It's one of the reasons why people don't make the kind of money that they know that they're capable of, and it creates this strong sense of frustration, because it's like, intellectually you could be doing better, but for whatever reason, it's not happening, right? And the only reason it's not happening is because there's some fear there, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that you have not moved through to allow you to get the results that you know that you're capable of, right? It's why we play small, right? So, if you know that that's something that's going on for you, you want to ask some questions while you have my attention right now, all right? So let's see. Good question, by the way, Jordan. Christine, what kind of blocks? It could be blocks to anything, right? It could be blocks to receiving. When we're talking about something at a higher level, oftentimes, people will have this block, well, am I worthy enough to receive at a higher level? Or maybe I'm too much. Like if I really show up as myself, I'm not going to attract people. I'm actually going to push people away. Sometimes it could be blocks around serving your next level client. Maybe you feel intimidated by your next level client because they're so much closer to you than the clients who actually drain your energy, right? And one thing I would encourage is, we want to, this is another thing that I should have mentioned when we talked about, like, how do you move past fear? What I would encourage all of you to do is entertain the idea that fear is nothing more than excitement, right? Oftentimes we are so unfamiliar with our actual real feelings that we misinterpret excitement for fear. So when you're afraid, how do you feel? Sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm at my edge, right? And so it creates this nervousness. But that really could be excitement for you, right? It really could be that that you're stretching, that you're about to do something that you've never done before. And what's more exciting than doing something that you've never done before, right? But if you allow the fear to stop you, or if you interpret it as fear and you let the whole thing stop you, you stop moving forward, then you don't really get to experience that. You don't really get to experience yourself moving to the next level. You back away, you shrink back, right? So in terms of blocks, I think I gave you a couple. If you have any more, Christine, ask me. Or if you know that you have some that you want to move through, I'd love you to share them, all right? Hey, Leslie. Hey, Nikki, how are you? Okay, so Missy Ray says, my main block is trying to figure out how to turn what I do into a transformational program for my clients, potential clients. How do I turn what I currently do, a service-based one-on-one service, how do I make it into a course? I don't know what you do. What do you do, Missy Ray? That would be helpful. I can give you a quick and dirty on it. I don't know how valuable the quick and dirty will be without some of the other nuances that go into creating a course. But let me just give you kind of like an overview. What you really want to know is, what are the steps required to take a person from point A to point B? Point A is when they're in pain, right? Whatever their perceived problem is, the thing that's keeping them up at night, that's point A. So how do you move them from point A to point B, where they're at the promised land, where their life is so much better, or their business is better, or whatever the case may be is better, right? And then you got to think about what are the steps you take a person through in order for them to move from A to B, right? Those become the individual steps in your process. Now, you need to understand why each of those steps are valuable. You need to understand how each of those steps make your clients get results easier and faster than they could do on their own, right? Now, there's some more nuances that I share in the trainings I do, because obviously they're more than what I could share in this short live stream, but that's something to get you started. And you can use that same process for whether it's an online course, whether it's a 8-week workshop, even a live event, right? Whether it's a mastermind, you could use it for whatever you want. I mean, that can become your foundation, right? And then you can build different types of programs based off of that, right? Okay. All right, so Missy Ray says, I'm a psychic medium and I offer guidance to clients to move past their fear, guilt, pain, and provide healing messages from spirit. Awesome. So what I just shared hopefully kind of cleared that up for you, right? Like in terms of how you can go about creating a course. Cool? All right. And if you want more in-depth explanation about that, actually, I'll make an invitation to everybody. If you are at a place where you know you want to charge higher end, where you want to be able to figure out how to package, how to market, and how to be able to sell at a higher level, then reach out to me at DesireeStafford.com/session and sign up for a breakthrough session with me, because that will give me the time I need with you, number one, to understand your business, number one, to understand what's going on, what's actually stopping you, because what we talked about here, these are generalizations, right? So we need to know what's actually stopping you from selling at a higher level, and then I need to know where you want to go, so we can come up with a strategy to help you get there faster and easier. Cool? So if that's of interest to you, if that would be of value to you, go to DesireeStafford.com/session. Now, I will stress this. Please do not go and sign up for a session if you are not ready to play a bigger game. You've got to be at a point in your life, in your business, where you're done playing small, right? Where you're done settling, where you're done kind of like just going through the motions. You've got to be at a point where you're like ready to take what I share with you and actually go out and get results. Make sense? So who else has any other questions? You're welcome, Missy Ray. Who else has any other questions before we wrap up? There's several of you on this call, and I know that I do a really good job of explaining things very clearly, but I also know that there have to be some questions. Thanks for the love, by the way. I'd love to know, actually, we have about 2 minutes left. What price points are you guys selling at, or what price points do you want to sell at? That would be helpful to know, right? Maybe, I might be able to give more direction. You're welcome, Christine. Hey, Janelle, how are you? I might be able to give more direction if I knew where you guys were. Like, what are the price points that you want to be able to sell your programs at right now, right? Because I focus on high end. So if you have any questions related to that, I'd love to help you. Thank you for the love. All right, my friends, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to go over really quickly before I go. I'm going to go over. So Antonio, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name right. Antonia says that all is good so far. She's just enjoying swimming in my energy. So awesome. Thank you. Here, let me just go over really quickly the 3 reasons why your programs are not selling, okay? And then if you want the explanation of how to fix it, go back and watch the replay if you're just joining us, all right? The first reason is that you're worried that you can't deliver at a higher level, okay? That's one of the most common fears that people experience when they're wanting to sell higher end programs, right? That's why they shrink back. That's why a lot of people will, make a higher end sale here or there, but then they focus so much of their time and so much of their energy on attracting the lower level clients who drain them, who make them feel exhausted, right? The reason that happens is because there's fear there. So one of those fears is that you're worried that you can't deliver at a higher level, okay? The second fear, and by the way, when I talk about these fears, a lot of them are irrational, right? but they feel real to us. So it's important that you have, someone who can help you, see things from a different perspective so that you can actually let go of these fears that are getting in your way, right? All right. The second fear is that you don't know where to find qualified leads. And oftentimes that would cause you to think, well, I've got to work so much harder, to find the right people and all that kind of stuff, which is actually not true. What I've learned to do in my business is create a lot of leverage. So I don't work as hard. I mean, I make more money now doing less marketing, doing less sales calls, doing less of everything that I used to do before, okay? And there's a method to that madness. And the third fear that is preventing you from selling your higher end programs consistently, right, is that people don't have the money to pay, or that they don't have the money to pay you, right? And we talked about the fact that when people say they don't have the money, that's just an objection. It's a fear-based, it's a fear-based thought pattern that people go into, right? Of, well, I don't have the money. It's their way of immediately shutting down the opportunity because they're in fear, right? So we talked about what that's about and how to, what you need to do so you can shift past that, right? You can help people move past that. All right, so if you have no other questions, I'm going to wrap up here today. Again, go to DesireeStafford.com/session to get yourself signed up for a session with me if you would like some further support. And until we speak, I hope you're up to big, bold things in your life and in your business. Take care. And I'm going to find my words today. I really am going to find them. All right, take care. Bye.